All right, we are live. Welcome back to the Chicken Box. Oh my God. I had a question earlier. Somebody said, "What is the Chicken Box?" Well, if you're not from the Baltimore area, you probably don't know what the Chicken Box is. But if you are, you know it's four wings, fries, sometimes in the styrofoam, sometimes in a paper box with some potato skin. Remember the big wedges, Jay?
Of
That they
course,
used
of
to,
course.
then you if you like salt, pepper, and ketchup. If you're hungry right now, you are all the way with me. But right now we are powered by the Afro American News, and the Chicken Box here is where you get to speak your truth. You get to step up on that box and tell your truth. Now, do we have to agree with you? No. And that's the good thing about America, right? But we have wonderful guests from all over the country. I didn't even say hello, Jay. Jay, how are you feeling?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good. Winter is here, except for people who live uh, in some place warm. I forgot where you live.
Uh, below the border. How about
Below
that?
the border. All right. Well,
Yeah.
below the border is usually pretty warm. Dr. Draper, how you making out today on this beautiful Thursday?
I'm doing well, thank you. Hello, everyone. And we're in cold weather here in Maryland.
Well, we the Chicken Box, and today is Black people versus boxing. Huh, that's funny. Boxing, the boxing. We got a special guest joining us today. We're just going to get into the conversation. We're going to talk about the boxing as a business, how it helps and how it mentors, how it trains life skills, and all the other things coming with one of she's our own in DC. I'm gonna bring her onto the stage. Cassandra White, are you here with us? Welcome to the box.
Yes, 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 yes.
Welcome to the box.
Thank
We're
you,
gonna
thank you
talk.
guys for having me.
We're gonna talk about one of your
You.
favorite subjects, boxing. Um, and you got Babie Girl Production. You know how they say baby girl, but that that's feminine packing a big punch. Cassandra, why don't you just I'll let Jay. I said Jay was gonna officially introduce you to the box so you could feel warm and welcome, and then we'll get right into today's topic. We're talking about boxing, y'all.
All right. So thank you, Cassandra, for joining us. Cassandra runs the Babie Girl Productions, uh, which was founded in Washington, D.C. in September of 2011. It is a D.C. corporation, which is a small minority and female-owned company. That, she began her business with overwhelming willingness to serve back in 1993. Her desire to give back to the community was immediately evident by her seeking out and hiring people in the neighborhood and other district residents exclusively for her operations of the transportation services arm of her business. Look, just to give a little bit of background, Cassandra, you promoted your first amateur boxing match in 2005. Then you did your first professional match at the historic Lincoln Theater in DC in 2006. And then you scuttled off to Beijing, China for a while to attend the World Boxing Association conference. And from there, in 2009, you were named DC's original boxing promoter by the DC council members. And you've started programs within Babie Girl Productions, such as Boxing Not Bullets, which we'll definitely talk about. So thank you for being on.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely, that's quite a resume. and you're just getting started. So
Yeah.
what was it? Was boxing always in your blood, or was it something that just triggered you one day and said, "This is the direction I want to go in"?
Well, actually, I was saying this off camera. When I was a kid, I used to always fight in the streets, always. So I never really took boxing up. It really came about to pursue boxing when at the time I had a transportation company. So I had a lot that I was leasing. It was about 26,000 square feet. So one of the guys that I grew up with, he was a boxing coach. So he came to me and asked if he could do an amateur card on my lot. And I said, sure. So I was so pumped up. And then in the middle of the game, they came and said that they didn't have any money. He didn't have any money. And I was like, oh man, I've been to the ANC meetings pumping this up. So I just went out there and did it myself. I did my very first show myself. And it was a success. It really was. We had over about, I would say 500 to 600 people there at that event. And it was an outside event. So that's when I first started the boxing business.
Cassandra, you were fighting in them streets, huh? Originally,
majorly.
originally from DC.
Yeah, native Washingtonian, absolutely.
What part? What side?
Northeast, and then
Yeah.
I bought my house in Southeast in 2002.
All right. Well. Shout out to DC. DC and Baltimore have always had great boxers
Yeah, absolutely.
and great gyms. I know in Philadelphia, and they kind of traveled and they fought each other throughout the. So you said you did your very first. You said show because we know boxing is kind of in the show business, right? I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
a lot of people look at it in the entertainment, kind of like wrestling, but a little different than wrestling sometimes. And then of course,
Oh, wrestling? No, 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 no. Ain't no wrestling. This is real, real. I know wrestling got the little
no, I'm just talking
gimmicks.
about the entertainment portion of it.
Oh, okay,
I know
yeah.
it's not the same, as getting knocked out by a left hook.
Yeah, that right. Or right.
But your very first event, what was it? Was it youth or was it adult boxing?
Actually, it was a mixture. Although it was amateur, you still had young people. Well, they had from 9 years old to about 24. I think that was the oldest one that we had. And to be honest, his name was Snow. He came to me after the event was over. He was an amateur. I think he was at that time. He was about 23 years old. He said, Miss Cassandra, I want you to do a professional show so I can fight on it. And because I didn't want to do another show. I thought that was one and done. But when he asked me that, I said, wow. I said, okay, let me go and do that professional show. But to be honest, I wish I would have stuck with the amateur show because it was extremely hard with the professional show because you already know a female in a male dominated business. You know how that goes. And then when you talk about money, it was a lot, and especially because I did a lot of championship fights. And when I say championship fights, they were sanctioned fights. And before I go on, I want to just mention this. It was so crazy that, if you go to boxrec.com, and that's where all the professional boxers are listed, for a long time, and they have the promoter's name and where they fight and all that. But for the longest time, they did not recognize Babie Girl Production. They would just say the city, but they wouldn't, say if it was Don King Promotion, they would say Don King Promotions, right? But they would never say Babie Girl Productions for the longest. So that was one of the things that I had to go through. But I just wished I would have started out dealing with the amateurs as opposed to going to the boxing.
So you kind of, stumbled your way in. You had a little parking lot. You had 26,000 square feet, and you just put on an event in the parking lot, and the rest is history. This is in 1993 when that started.
No. This is in 2006. But in 2000, I was able to acquire a lot because that's when I had my transportation company. And that's how it came about it. Because I said, well, I could diversify the company, do boxing promotion since, it was put in my hands, so to speak. So that's what I did.
I think everybody has watched boxing before. At least if they didn't watch it, they heard that it was some big fight coming. And I heard you say you wish you would have stuck with the amateurs. What is the difference when you mentioned the sanctioned fights professionally? Just so us boxers, novice out here can understand the difference between that sanctioned fight and then that amateur fight.
Yeah. The amateurs, there's no fuss. It's just putting on a show. It's not really that much money that's involved in the amateurs. Because a lot of these kids are Olympic hopefuls, or they're trying to go on their professional journey. And so the difference between the professionals, obviously those guys are getting paid, and they're going out for the championship belts. And that's money right there. That's a lot of money. You have to come up with these boxes on both sides. The opponent and whoever you are flying in to fight on your card. So that's the difference between that.
So do the amateur fights count on a boxer's record?
Yeah, of course they have. It's not going to be coming over to the professional side, but on USA Boxing, yeah, it counts for that.
So you have an amateur record and then
Yes,
when you turn pro,
you
you,
have your
you
professional record.
right. So you might have knocked out 200 people. You might have had 200 fights in amateur, and then you might be okay.
That's right. That's
All
right.
right.
That's right.
Jay, jump in. Are you a boxing fan, Jay?
Um, I don't follow it super hard. I used to back in the day, but not so
Hmm.
much anymore. I mean, I'm certainly a fan of watching Tank Davis keep his record pretty undefeated. I know he's
Boss
got a
boy, take. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I know he's got a fight coming up in March. Um, so I guess my question to you is I'm really super interested in this boxing not bullets
Hmm.
program that you have, which is this is a urban youth initiative based in DC, obviously, which
Yes.
your mission, as it's stated on your website, is to provide at-risk youth with powerful alternatives to violence, nurturing their potential and transforming their lives through boxing and life skill programming. Um, what what was the impetus for creating that program?
Well,
Did you just find that your gym had a lot of kids that thought were at risk, and how did that come about?
well, actually, at the time, I had just started a gym in 2014. That was at an apartment complex called Langston Apartments. And it was like, it seemed like every day there was a shooting. And I just remember those young people when they come into the gym and tell me that, this had happened, that happened, and what they were going through. And sometimes right in their own homes. And I just remember one day one of the young kids came in there, particularly one little guy, Junior. I think they were calling him, but I can't remember so long ago. But I'll just say Junior. He came and said, Miss Cassandra, I had a hard day at school and I'm mad. And I said, let me tell you something. I want you to go pick up those gloves, go to that heavy bag, and I want to punch as hard as you can and punch and get all that anger, everything that you had to deal with today, get it out of you. Get it out of you. Just
Right.
punch. And every time you think of something that happened, just punch the bag as hard as you can. And so when I started doing that, and I thought that that would make a difference because that kid stayed in there for about, I think, at least a half an hour. And when I went back there to talk to him, he had calmed down a little. And so I came up with that idea. I said, boxing not bullets. And I wanted to do something with the anger management piece about that because a lot of our young people, they will be just reacting.
Right.
So when I got my new gym and last year, I decided to hire an emotional counselor. And what she did was try to talk to these young people about how to handle their emotions, how to direct it in different ways. And so that's how Boxing Out Bullets came about.
Nice.
You can go to Baby Girl Productions. I'll put the website up, guys, and follow along. Um, Man, he said he hit that bag for 30 minutes.
Yeah, 30 minutes. That's
Oh
how
man,
he was.
he had
That's
a
how
he
I
had a
felt.
lot. He had to get out. I
Oh
I,
yeah.
I went to a boxing class one time, hit it for 3 minutes, then I went to the bathroom and threw up. I thought I was in shape. I tried to relive like I was young again. Yeah, I can do it, boy. That boxing will get you in shape, Dr. Draper.
Thank you, Cassandra, for being with us on today. I looked a little bit. Thank you, Jay, for introducing her. She is a what I call you can correct me, almost like a serial entrepreneur, whatever she puts her mind to. Today it's boxing, tomorrow it may be something else. But one thing that I was really impressed by, you also, I think I read somewhere, you work with young women around business principles and entrepreneurship and those kinds
Yes.
of things.
Yes.
So we heard of right now the boxing that you talked about for the young men. Can you talk a little bit about what you are doing with the young women around business?
Yeah, actually, we have, when I say we, I have a business partner that teamed up with me to do our, what they call business boot camp, entrepreneurship boot camp. We have a contract with DOES, which is Department of Employment Services. It's a program which is called Mayor Barry's Youth Program. So what we do with that is that we show young people how to start their business from start to finish, whether they want to how to structure their business, how to go in there and get your business license, whatever it is that we think they need for their business. even financial literacy. We bring people in. We have a banker to come in and talk to them about the aspect of how to utilizing your money and when you start making it. So, and we actually are in the process of getting a contract with, hopefully, I mean, I don't want to say the name of the agency yet, but it's going to be dealing with returning citizens, and showing them how to use computers. And a lot of times they find when these returning citizens come out of jail, you know, they can't get job placements. So we thought, what better way to, you know, show them how to start their own business? You know, like I said, start to finish, and also putting that emotional piece in there too. People don't understand when you're trying to take someone out there, maybe have been in jail for about 10 or 15 years. Their whole mindset is different. So they need to be able to handle that boss is going to just say, you know, something out, you know, quick out the mouth or something. So that's one of the pieces that we have in there. Yeah, and I'm, and what you said earlier, I am a serial
Yeah,
entrepreneur.
you're absolutely,
Because,
you're
yeah,
absolutely.
and I got that from when I started working, when I stopped working for the Department of Housing. It was a government job. And I just couldn't take it anymore. So I went to work for a man named Ernie Green. And Mr. Green owned, oh my God, he owned a nightclub. He had homeless shelters. He would just put me into anything. I was first working as a receptionist. And the next thing he said, Cassandra, I want you to go over there to the homeless shelter. I want you to be a counselor. I said, huh? I ain't gonna be a counselor. I don't know how to do it. So I just went over there and I just did it. The next thing he said, Cassandra, he had a school called Buena Vista. So I went over there. He said, I want you to put on a Black History my program for these kids. I said, what? So I went over there and did it. And when he came over there, he saw it was a success. So I credit him for that. He just put me into something and I just did it. And I'm not scared to go and meet the challenges.
But we give him some credit, but but you had to go and do it. So
Yeah.
congratulations to you. One other thing, this is not about what we were just talking about. Did you hear the announcement that Tank Davis made yesterday that he's retiring from boxing next year, and
What?
Next
he
year. Yep.
said he really needs to go into therapy, but he thinks
Oh,
that
okay.
therapy may make him soft. But he said he wanted to be a better role model for his
Mm,
girls.
yeah. That's that. You know what? I think that's a good idea. In fact, you know what I tell parents when they come into my gym, you know, a lot of them want to get these kids at a young age into boxing. I said that's fine, but what I would like for you guys to do is put them in other sports as well, put them in other things, because that I think it's CAT is really real, whatever sport, even football, the brain injury. So I try to tell them don't let them solely be focused on boxing. Give them a break. Because when they get into even if you discount the brain injuries, they get so how do you say, just they don't want to do boxing when they get into the professional. They get burnt out. That's the word I'm looking at. Burnt out, meaning when they get to that certain level, like Tank, he's really burnt out because it's a lot on them. It really
Of
is,
course. Of course.
mentally, physically. I mean, you just have to look at it from the standpoint when you're in that ring, it's just you and your opponent. There's nobody else there but you and that opponent. You may have your trainer, you know, shouting to you to do certain things, but it's just, to be honest, it's just him and his opponent, and that's a lot because you know you want to win because you got to go to that next level. And I tell my parents right now, don't do it. I advise the parents just give them a break because you be surprised. These kids been in boxing from the time they are 9 years, even earlier than that. I would say 5 years old. I have a little girl in my gym that's 5 years old, and she loves it. But you know, she's such a little feminine 5 year old girl, but she still loves hitting the heavy bags. But I tell the parents, yeah, to have a break, give them a break.
Does every child that come in there, some of them just for exercise, or are all of them fighters?
Well, you will find a couple of them that are able to really pursue this as an amateur. Some of them not so much, but it's okay because it's not all about the boxing piece of it. Like I said, it's the anger management and it's the fitness aspect of it, because that's really what we want our young people to be conscious of, because diabetes is rampant in our communities, and obesity is rampant in our communities. So that's one of the things that I focused on too when I was putting that program together. Like I told the parents, it's not about boxing for me, to be honest. It's about getting those kids in that anger management where they can address that and try to put that anger in another places so they can, and then boxing is a tool, because like I said, you can go in there and hit the bag, you can go and spar with somebody. I remember when I was training at Sugar Ray Leonard's gym. This is when I first started out with the boxing thing, because I need to get inside the mindset of boxers if I want to take this challenge on. And I remember putting those, they had the gloves, the headgear, and the mouthpiece, and they put somebody in there to spar with me. I said, oh, no. I said,
Like,
I
no
said I was a
thanks.
kid. I said I was a kid, I could do that. But it's too much. It really is it you have to really want to be a boxer. It has to be in your soul. It has to be in your heart, and you can tell those young people that really have it, and you can see how far they come when the coaches start working with them. And yeah, this is somebody that's going to go far. I had a couple of young kids this summer that look potential.
Because a lot of kids come in and think they can fight, right?
Yes.
Of
The-
course. Yeah.
But then once they get to somebody who knows how to box,
Yeah, and that's the other problem is that once they start, once because they were sparring, we let them spar, and once they do that, and once they get hit, they go throw up the gloves, they go crying and all that. I said, you can't do that. I mean, what do you think, box? You think you're not gonna get hit? I said, no. What you need to do is try to figure out how you defend yourself, not to get hit.
right? So they angry all of a sudden. They're like, "Forget this, we're not boxing no more." And they
Oh
want to,
yeah,
and
yeah.
they want to
Oh,
try to street
absolutely. They
fight
get
and
mad once
fight
they
for
get hit.
real.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's like that almost in any sport with young people.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Everybody thinks they're going to the NFL, they're going to play Major League Basketball, and
Mm-hmm.
after a while, it weeds out.
That's right. You can tell the true champions because they're gonna stay in there. And if you can't take a punch, you might as well get out of there. You, you might as well get pack your bags and get on out. I don't want to take a punch because I did that when I was a kid, and I didn't want to take any more.
I don't blame you. So you mentioned this 5-year-old little girl in the gym. Are there many girls who are pursuing boxing?
Oh yes, absolutely. Actually, I had a couple of 20-year-old women. They were calling. They wanted to put their kids in, and then they also wanted to train.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm. My wife and I are actually looking at putting our daughter in jujitsu for the same sort of reason, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not necessarily for like self-defense, though. Whatever, that's fine. But just for that level of discipline and physical,
Fitness.
exercise and things like that. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important. Do you your site in talking about the Boxing Not Bullets program and things like that? You mentioned this idea of having some real community impact and seeing people who have kind of gone on to pursue higher education or excel academically. Can you talk about that at all?
Yeah. Let me take one case, and I want to come back to the case this summer. I had a young man, Anthony. Anthony, when he first got there, his mom told me that he has this anger issue. He didn't want to listen. He just when he gets angry, he really gets angry. And case in point, he did that at one day at the gym. He was wrestling with one of the guys on the floor or whatever they were doing. I told him to get up, don't do that. So he got so mad. He went and he got mad because the kid threw him on the floor. Okay, that's why he originally got angry. So he got up, got one of my wristbands, the weight wristbands, took it, tore it. I mean, albeit it was an old one, but he tore it to pieces while I'm looking at him. I mean, this was. I said, "What?" I said, "Are you crazy?" So what I had to do was the coach saw it, so the coach talked to him, And so we did one-on-one with him. And the emotional counselor was talking to him one-on-one. So about a couple of weeks passed, and she came back and she told me, she said, Miss Cassandra, he's totally different. I mean, that anger is not as, he's not getting aggressive as he was before. And I said, yeah. I said, because we kind of took him and walked with him on a one-on-one basis. That's why. So, but you have to do that. You have to pay special attention to some of those that really need it. And unfortunately, we're not able to do that with all, especially if you get 20 or 30 kids in your program. So
Right.
hopefully we're able to raise more money so we can have some more coaches, and we have those emotional counselors to be able to do one-on-one sessions with those kids.
So Cassandra, most of the kids that come in are they from single parent homes or?
Yeah, they're from like what you call the inner city projects or whatever. We have one. We actually have 4 or 5 that's surrounding the boxing gym, and so a lot of them are related, and that could be a problem too because once they have that gang mentality or bullying mentality. I'm gonna say gang, but bullying mentality because they have their cousin there or their sister there. So we have to deal with that. We have to show them that, hey, we love everyone in here. That you get all that negativity in the streets. Once you come in here, we all love each other. And so one of the things that I did this summer also, I had them write positive affirmations like you're a black, you're beautiful, we love boxing, boxing not bullets. And then they added their own little thing to it. One said we should not shoot each other, one said we should not kill each other, and just little things. And so what we did, it was colorful posters, so I had them tape it up outside of the window of the gym. So it was so interesting because you could see right outside. They have glass doors in my windows, so people would walk past and they would actually take pictures of those positive things of those young kids. You knew they were kids because the way the handwriting. So and I think they loved it too because they were taking selfies with it.
Right.
Nice.
So that brings to mind. So we talked about what we do for the young people, and Jay, you mentioned you're looking into something for your daughter.
Yep.
What would you advise parents? Because parents who are looking for a gym, looking for that kind of activity for their child, what are some things that parents should be aware of?
Well, first of all, you want to make sure that coach that you're going to, that gym, has a credible rating. And you can always go into your Google and Google them, and you'll see they will make comments. Trust me, they don't have a problem about talking about you. But the other thing is also the coaches. You want to make sure that coach is not solely looking at that boxer as ching ching, like that's a potential amateur that can goes to the Olympic, and then they see that they can get money because once they do that, they are able to get sponsors and all that. And then if they are going to the professional side, they get money. Those trainers. So that should not be the focus on that coach. The focus is either you're training them for their benefit, that they're going to achieve their goals, not your goals in your pockets. So you have to go in there with them and take time to stay and say, hey, you want to stay there, look at them and watch the coach and how he deals with the other kids. And then you can get a sense of what that coach is like.
So you got to do a little bit of homework.
Yes,
Makes sense.
absolutely.
Makes sense.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Oh, absolutely.
So when
But I
that
tell
one,
you,
go ahead. No, I said when that one superstar comes along, have you had anybody from your gym go to the Olympics yet, or?
it's so crazy because I just started a gym, so I can't say no. I could say no on that because 2014, those kids we weren't really training them like that. It was more so the anger management things, and I really didn't have a coach at that time. And if I did, they would come and they would go. So it was no strenuous coaching at that point. And so, no, not yet. But, like I said, I'm really not focusing on me having some child go to the Olympics or go to the professional. If they choose and their parents choose, that's so be it. I'll have the coach to do that. But my main goal is to really focus on that child's outcome to be a productive citizen in the community. You know, that they are able to get out there and not pull a gun out and shoot somebody quick because
Right.
they're angry. That's the goal of Boxing Not Bullets.
Right.
Now, when you talk about my pro, when I do my events, my boxing events, now I'm not necessarily getting them from my gym, obviously, but other gyms. And so, obviously, I don't want any boxer to manage. That's not my thing. And promoters make money. That's where they make all their money, to be honest. If you have a boxer that you manage. And I have plenty of people calling me up asking if I can manage a boxer. I did it one time. One of the females, well, two times. One was Sugar Girl. She was out of Detroit. I went there, tried to get her, but it was too much. I said, no, I don't ever want to do it again. I said, I like putting the shows on.
Mm-hmm. So what's next for you? As you know, we already established you a serial entrepreneur. So what's next?
Well, what's next is that what I want to do with this show that I'm doing May 3rd, that's an amateur boxing event. Um, I'm going to do a show in July, which is going to be a pro-am. I want to take this around. I want to take Babie Girl Productions on other parts of the states. I've always remained here in DC, and I've done some things in Maryland. But that's the goal. And then go globally, meaning I want to go over there to Africa to do a show. And I have been talking to a gentleman that's from Ethiopia. Um, and I have boxes that hit me up on the Insta all the time. And you know, from Ghana, all over, to be honest. That's one of the things that I want to be able to do. Dubai would be the great place because it's money, money, money. But
Oh, it's an adult playground over there.
Huh?
Says an adult playground over there.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, I just have to have the right network to get to those places. So.
Okay, all right. You know, at some point we're gonna have to like start calling you Donna King, like when you get too big. Get too big for us. No, but that's kind of amazing to really shoot for that. I think that's admirable. You have this other program that's business training. Can you
Yes.
can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. Our business training is right now it's for 16 to 25 years old, and that's only in the summer now. And what we do is show our young people how to start their business. We first talk to them about financial aspect of things. Then we talk to them about whether you want to be a corporation, whether you want to be a sole proprietor, whatever structure that. So we go through each one of those specific structures of the business, so they know how to structure their business. And then we talk about don't get these false expectations that you're going to make money as soon as you become a business owner, because that's not true. You got to be that's one of the things about business that you guys probably know yourselves, that when you're in business, you're going to have some really sleepless nights. I mean, it's just not that easy. You just not making, especially when you're dealing with contracts from like DC government, and they don't pay you for 3 months, and you got people looking in your face. Hey, I want my money. I want my money. So I know I've been through all that. So we talk to them about all of that because that's so important, because they need to know what's ahead of that, and that you can't go into a bank and say, oh, I need a line of credit, or I need a loan. You better have that credit on point, because if you don't have the credit, you ain't getting a loan.
That's
And the other thing is that, because I use my own personal examples for them, I said, case in point, I remember when I started out in business, I went in there, and now he's my very good friend. His name is Mr. Lane. He works for Wells Fargo. I went into the bank, and I said, I need to get a loan. I got my business, and I got one van. I just started. And he looked at my credit. He said, you ain't got no credit. So I said, and I'm like, what? And so then you go and you do this work, and you, like I said, you not get paid for 3 months. So those bills you're supposed to be paying, you're not paying them because you can't get your money until, the government pays you. And so the next time you go in there, you got all this, you got these contracts out here. So you got the invoices, right? You go in there, oh, your credit is bad. So you damned if you do and damned if you don't. So that's one of the things you go through. I'm telling, I tell them, I have to give them specific. I'm telling you, this is what happens in business.
Yeah, that's fair. It's business is a lot more difficult and nuanced than I think a lot of people
Right.
realize. You know, like I went to college for business, my grad degree, and it's one of those things where everyone's like, oh yeah, you just do this, and then all the thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars just roll in. I'm like, okay, well, that would be nice, but we're not all Google or something like that. So
well,
it's a
unless
little
you get
bit hard.
well, unless you get 400 million from your pops, I mean, then you should be able to roll.
Well, then, I mean, it's just a tiny loan. I mean, it doesn't really make a difference, right? But yeah, it's a lot more difficult than I think a lot of people realize. And there's such a desire for people to start their own businesses now, especially post-pandemic, especially in the Black community. Everybody's trying to kind of go out on their own, which makes sense. I don't disagree with it. But it's nice that you have a program that is trying to give people a leg up instead of just following Rise and Grind Twitter on how to start a business. So people have actually done this and have real world experience. So
yeah, they have options, you know.
Yeah,
they have
absolutely.
options.
Yes, and as Dr. Draper said, you are a serial entrepreneur. So like you got like so many irons in the fire, as they say. So that's kind of good.
Well, you do have to have that, to be honest, because when one is down, you have something else to go on. Because like I said, the DOE project is just the summer. So hopefully this other project I have is for the winter and 5 years. That's a 5-year contract. So that's what I'm working on now, because that's going to allow me to do other things for my kids in the program. You know, what we did this summer is take them to restaurants and the area. We have this place they call the Garden, and it's down the street from where we are. And then that shows them, they were showing them different plants and all that, and how they need to grow your own food. So then you know what you're not putting all these chemicals and everything. You know what's going into your body. That's one of the things. But we want to be able to go further out. We want to show them different aspects of not only DC but other parts. Hopefully go out of town and just be able to show them other things than where they're normally going to.
Right. No, I think I think giving people that sort of wider perspective helps them to not only just make decisions, but also realize that you're not as small as you initially realized, so that you can dream bigger. You can, perhaps strive to do something bigger when you realize, well, okay, I can see the world now a little bit better. So I think it's a smart move.
Absolutely.
I guess, Dr. Draper, do you have anything?
No, I'm just listening. I'm listening to Cassandra talk, and I know that she's going to do other things and great things, because that's in her nature to do. If somebody just told you to go over and do something, didn't tell you how, and you got it done, that says something about your entrepreneurial spirit. And so,
well, you did ask a question, and I forgot to mention that, because when I was in Cincinnati, I talked to a man that's from Eritrea. And he was telling me, because I was telling him I want to do some, I was telling him what I did. I told him to do boxing promotions and all that. And I said, I want to do global things. But then he started talking about that he would be interested in getting a group together to go over there to where he is, and from Eritrea, and do electric over there, bring electric over there. And he said that he knows the president's brother and all this. And I said, whoa. So in fact, I talked to him like the day before Thanksgiving. And I'm trying to put a team together to do that, because that's the ultimate goal, to go over there to the motherland and try to do something like that.
Exactly.
Now, this young man, he showed me, he has a restaurant in Cincinnati, an Ethiopian plus Eritrean food cuisine. So he showed me the restaurant and how he designed it, because he's an engineer by trade. He showed me how he designed this restaurant. I said, oh my God, that's fabulous. So, but he's putting together a summary, so when I meet with my guys here, that I can tell them what this project will be about.
Okay.
And so yes, that's something that I'm trying to do.
You're proving every time you talk, you're proving my point. And so Impeccable and myself, we're both serial entrepreneurs. That's why it takes one to know one. But there are people who are going to Ghana, for
I'm
example.
retiring from the serials.
No, you're not. There are people now who are going, for example, to Ghana back and forth. You know, people are digging for gold over there, but the Ghanaians also are looking for partners. So yes, you're right. There are lots of people and opportunities.
What did President Biden do? He went over to Angola, right?
Mm-hmm.
He went over to Angola. He went up to Angola the other day, and he's over there. He's putting how many billions of dollars over there for that railroad? See, that's what I'm saying. People don't understand. I was thinking this a couple of years ago, and I've been preaching this to my fellow business owners here. I'm saying y'all gotta start thinking globally. We just can't stop thinking about DC contracts and Maryland. I mean, federal contracts. No. I said we need to go over here where you can really do something. You know.
But that's what. In fact, I'm going to put this plug in. Let me say hello to everybody who's watching and listening on either Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn. We're so glad you're joining us. This is a Chicken Box powered by the Afro-American. Our trade name is Afro News, or the Black Media Authority. We've been in business 132 years. And so we've had a lot of experience with different kinds of businesses. And so thank you for joining us. We're talking to Cassandra White, our serial entrepreneur who has successful gyms, and she had parking lots, and she does mentoring and uplifting of young people. And she's on her way to Africa to do some other great
That's the plan.
And so the Babie Girl Productions can cover a whole lot of things in addition to boxing. We are getting ready to wrap up in just a little bit, but you're right, there are lots of opportunities. And so I mentioned the Afro. Many of our followers, we have nearly 750,000 followers on Facebook, are from Nigeria.
Wow.
We have a lot of people who follow us. In fact, that's the largest country outside the United States that follows the Afro. So we have, and there are business opportunities all over the world. So
yeah, absolutely.
Kudos to you for wanting to go global. Impeccable, and I might go along with you, Jay.
Come on, I'm asking everybody to come with me.
That's got a good ring to it. Afro Electric.
There you go.
Yeah, why not? We could be the power company. We are a powerful company. So
absolutely.
I like it. See,
absolutely.
You got to be willing when things come. Sometimes you think you're only going to do one thing, and then if you weren't open to go when you were a secretary or assistant, just to go over and do something else, you would have probably been stuck in the same position. But you got a chance to. You said, "Hey, I can do it." It's better to try and not know how than to not try at all.
That's right.
Because you can catch up to your mistakes. Man, boxing.
Yeah.
It was a big fight, so to speak. An old man and a young man that happened.
I just shake my head with that one, man.
I guess you could call it a fight. That's about as real as wrestling.
We know he needed the money, and and they already discussed the rules and all that, and so that was the thing about.
I don't really know if he needed the money. I think,
he needed the money.
He needed it. Okay.
He needed the money.
They were saying in all the interviews he didn't need it, but
Sure.
Right. But hey, who's turning down $20 million? All you gotta do is stand up for 8 rounds.
Yeah, absolutely, and you're going to do it. But the thing about that is that dilutes boxing, to me. And the problem with boxing now, and that's why he was the reason in 2003 he bit Holyfield's ear. I mean, it was no boxing going on until 2006 when I did my first pro show, to be honest. And I was doing 2 shows a year after that because none of the promoters were here coming into DC to do shows. And
how many black women are doing boxing promotion?
I don't know how many. I really don't. It's a few. It's some, but it's not that many, to be honest.
Right.
Not enough.
Well, we consider you our own pioneer right here in the DMV. We gonna say you one of the first pioneers to go out there and really, put your stake in the ground. I saw a woman's fight. I think it was on the same Tyson's fight, right?
Yeah.
They got it in. That fight was that's the best fight I've seen.
That's my point. That is my point. When I have females on my belt, on the professional, even the amateurs, but on the professional card, they are the ones that get the crowd riled up. They're on their feet, they're cheering, because one of the things I believe is not, I don't know what's in their mindset, but I tend to think is that they're just saying, hey, we got to prove that we can come out here and do this
Right.
too. We know how to box. And I think that's what their mindset is. And they're going to give you a good show all the time. And it's toe to toe, head to head. They're just going back and forth, you know, and they're matched up. That's number one. They're matched up good, which is the great thing.
Well, the one that lost, she went up 3 weight classes and was still holding her own. I don't know if you guys saw it. Go back and look at it on. I would call it Netflix. It was called Pause Flicks that night because.
Oh yeah, I know. I left out.
They weren't ready for the stream. They talk about playing the Ravens game on Christmas. I'm shaking my head. I said, I hope you don't do what the Tyson did. Goodness gracious. They shut Netflix down. They're not ready for streaming. They gotta get. I'm sure they heard enough. It'll probably be fixed the next time.
It better be, because that was frustrating to try to watch.
I walked out. I mean, I was at a restaurant. I was gonna look at the fight. I said, "Oh my God!" I just walked out. I was so mad.
Yeah,
absolutely. So listen, it is the holiday season. Cassandra, when's your DC boxing next show coming up?
May 3rd. That's the amateur show. That's going to be at the Catholic University at the Heritage Hall. We're going to have DMV versus Cincinnati, Ohio. We're calling it the Knockout Champs. It's going to be great. We're going to have some amazing bouts. I cannot wait. And what we're adding to this particular show is we're going to have karaoke.
Uh-oh.
We're going to have karaoke for it. No, we're going to karaoke for the entertainment. Nobody's done that before, right? So I decided
not at boxing.
Well, people wait, because what I always hear is like, when the box? Because it always takes so much time for the first bout to come up. So I said, what can I do? I said, I do karaoke, because that way you get the audience participation while they're waiting. They don't even know they're waiting for the boxing event, but while they're waiting, they can be singing. So we're going to be advertising that as well. So I think that's going to be a really great show. I predict that's going to sell out. It's going to sell out anyway, because it always does at the Heritage Hall.
You know, you might have started some karaoke boxing. Look, if you're in the DMV area, May 3rd, go to Babie Girl Productions. babygirlproductions.com and follow Cassandra. Hit her on IG. And, you know, if you know some kids who really feel like they just need to blow off some steam or work out some things in their mind, and you're in the DMV area, send them to the gym. Mm-hmm. Stop being late. You know, parents get tired and they don't even want to take the kids to nothing, you know, to basketball practice, to football, you know what I mean? They get tired, so they're like, don't do it. Yeah, parents, you got to get a little bit more energy, parents, because the kids just need to be involved in something other than just school so that they can see
especially when it's free.
Oh, it's free. Okay. Listen, it's not a lot of spots left, so you better go.
You better run.
So listen, for 132 years, Cassandra, we've been telling beautiful Black stories, and you are now officially in one of the oldest archives of Black history.
Whoa.
Yeah, you've made it into that. Yeah, you've made it into one of the oldest archives. Go to afro.com, y'all, and subscribe. Get a digital subscription, $40. You can get the legendary paper and the digital subscription for $100. $100. You spend $100. You can't even get your kids' shoes for under $100, hardly, unless you go on one of these outlets. Maybe you can get 2 pairs for $100. But
come on. I want to add to that. We always ask our viewers to subscribe, and we want you to subscribe. But if you own a business, or you know somebody that owns a business that's trying to reach our market, don't do like Walmart. If you want to know what I mean, like by that, you got to go up online and read that story that says, for us as Black people, stop buying at Walmart. And yeah, I said it. I said it on this show, but we've got the story of advertise your business in the Black press.
Yes.
Advertise your events. Let our people know through the Black press. It's like Cassandra was talking about, you know, the economics of things. The economics is we can't continue to do what we do. The subscription, we subsidize that. You all know that for $100. That doesn't barely cover mailing for those who want print. And so that barely, but we need your support on the other side too. So that's I'm on the box right now, Impeccable. So I'm just encouraging people to support the Black press wherever you're watching from. We want you to support the Afro. Yes, we're in the DMV, but there are Black media all over the country. So support the Black press. Go ahead and advertise. Just, we spend money on everything else. Advertise on their social media or advertise in their print or digital products, whatever way it works. Okay.
Yeah, I used to advertise with Informer. Now I'm going with you guys. I still do Informer. Don't get me wrong. They're in DC.
No.
They based out of DC.
Listen, I know we're in partnership with the Informer for another business called Word in Black. WordInBlack.com. So Denise Rawlings Barnes and I, there's enough out there for all the Black press. Drop in the bucket. But please read that story. I know some of y'all are saying, don't buy at Walmart. Right, don't buy at Walmart. They just disbanded their whole DEI.
Whoa.
So they must not need the Black dollars.
Yeah, they don't, and we're the #1 consumers. We used to be. I don't know if it's still the case.
No, that's still the case. That is still.
And they're the #1 employers of Black employees in the country as well.
Wow. But they got a lot of complaints. So we're saying don't support, because they said they don't need the Black dollars. So we said, okay.
Well, we don't need them.
All right. I'm off.
No problem.
Are you off the box? Okay. I mean, because if you really need to, I'm gonna bring out I'll add another stage to it so that you can really stretch out. Because sometimes you got to pace. You know what I mean? When you're on the box, you got to just pace. You can't just sit still. You got to just walk to the next box and come on back. Anyway, y'all, this has been a great show. We could talk about boxing and fighting in life and how the life lessons you can learn, how the anger management you can deal with. How to fight the right way. You know what I mean? How to fight for your dreams, fight for your community, fight for your family. I'm on the box right now. I love boxing. I love the fact that it's very strategic. It's self-disciplined. It causes you to focus on a goal, a singular goal of, especially if you know who your opponent's going to be, and what it takes to put into it. And, because if you can hang in there through the later rounds, then you have a chance of winning. But if your training was, if you were taking shortcuts on your training, you're about to get knocked out. It's the same thing in life, in business. Once those legs give out, you think you want to go to this level in business, but everybody, like Cassandra said, who's an entrepreneur, they got in the ring and they put those hours in. They put that time in learning how to do what they do best and really be able to fight in business. And it's not easy being an entrepreneur, but as you get wisdom and knowledge, you can learn to move to the next level. And that's how, in that way, when I'm thinking about, I was reading something yesterday, instead of just trying to scale and grow, you need to buy your time back. So if you need some help, hire somebody that can help take something off the plate that you're doing so that you can get a little bit of more of your hours back and you're not working 16 hours a day and getting no rest. So I'm off the box. Thank you. Your family, Cassandra, you always are welcome here at the Afro. And Dana Marie says she's proud of your sister.
Tell us hi.
Stop. Anyway, Jay, you're on the box. Cassandra, you can be last.
Okay. So Cassandra, thank you for coming in. We appreciate it. Look, I think any of these programs to help, especially sort of wayward youth and kind of give them a chance to kind of straighten them up a little bit and give them a bit of focus that they may not be able to get at home or in school, I think is a bonus. I think it is incredibly important to help people learn discipline, whatever the method by which you do that, whether it's, sitting down and taking a test, or if it's through boxing or something else. So I think it's a very cool way. I think it's one of those methods I think that people think are unconventional, but in reality, teaching through like martial arts and stuff like that has existed for hundreds of years, right? So I think it's great that it's now being used in the Black community and people realizing that you're not just using your fists to just hurt someone or a punching bag, but you're actually using it to focus your mind and focus your attention. In my opinion, I don't think that's much different than yoga or anything like that, right? It's just a different method. So I think it's cool to use an aspect of sports or exercise that works for you. I'm going to be a bit of a dork here for a second and give you a quote from a very famous boxer, at least in movies, Apollo Creed, which is, there is no tomorrow, right? So you got to work hard right now, do whatever it is you do, and use that as a way to focus your mind and do better in life. So that's great. So thank you.
Jay, that wasn't dorky. I mean, that was good.
It's a Rocky quote. I can give you a longer one. Okay,
I was expecting some real nerd stuff there, buddy.
I can get deep, but I'm not going to. They're gonna Captain America show behind me.
I think dork was the nerdiest thing. Everything else was, man, who doesn't love Creed? They had to make 2 or 3 movies about it. It was just, a great. I think it was a great spinoff of Rocky. I mean, and if you just take Sylvester Stallone, I know we're not talking about that, but his journey to being turned down by all of those studios who wouldn't tell his story, and he just kept going till he had to play the role himself in the movie. And if you go back and look at his story, you'll see the fight that he had to fight. He was, the Rocky behind the Rocky, which made that franchise so successful, and even to spin off to Creed could be successful. So, Cassandra, you were on the box. You got the final word. We talking about boxing, but you so much. Baby Girl. Let me just call it a production. A Baby Girl production. Go ahead. You on the box.
I just want to thank you guys so much. You have been tremendously welcoming me here on this platform, and I'm so gracious. I want to tell everyone to go subscribe to you guys. Chicken Boxx is great. They make you feel at home. And I want to thank you. And I want to tell everybody, always, always bring those great punches.
Bring those great punches. Everybody, you know how we always say, it's the holiday season. It's people who are not here that were here last year. It's family members who we miss around this time. It's seniors you haven't spoke to. Please call a senior and tell them you love them. Say hello. Smile a little bit. Bring some joy to somebody else. Get off your own square sometimes and do something for somebody else. We all can't touch the whole world at one time like God, but you can touch the person that's next to you. So until next week, God willing, we will see you on the Chicken Boxx. Afro, DMV's over this black business. Come on, y'all. Give it up for the Afro. Go to afro.com and keep it going. They cannot control our narrative. We are the only ones who can, and we have to stop buying into the follow them and that the ice is colder than ours. Because we got the same Samsung icebox, I guess. Well, whatever. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you again, Cassandra, Jay, and Dr. Draper. And everybody listening. Share it with somebody. Maybe you want to go to a boxing class or something. Talk to you later.